music, your sports, every Sunday afternoon. Lahard's Sunday Scoreline.
KCLR. Yes, you're very right. It is Sunday Scoreline with myself, Shane O'Keefe. Thank you very much to Carol Dooley, playing all the hits, all the classics. She'll be back same time next week. For now, I am here till 6 o'clock, so we're halfway through our sporting weekend. We have loads to cover as well. Sport is coming back, which makes producing a sports show quite a bit easier, I must say. We'll be talking football, we'll be talking golf, we're going to be talking foot golf, horse racing, loads of stuff in there, fitness and hurling, of course, as we are Kilkenny, Carlow, and GAA is in our hearts. If you want to get in touch with the show, 083 306 9696. Would love to hear from you, WhatsApp or via textular message. It's open, it doesn't stop. I'd love to hear your thoughts on whatever is happening in the sporting world. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this as well, because a new event is going to reignite the summer of sport. It is Spikeball, and Simon Leonard from Roundnet Ireland joins me on the phone now. Simon, how are you getting on, sir?
Good, Shane, good. It's great to be here with you.
Lovely. It's lovely to have you, I must say. It piqued my interest. I would say it spiked my interest.
Yes.
Spikeball, what exactly is it? I've seen a few videos on social media, and it looks very, first of all, the cardio that you would need for something like that, but it looks very technical, but a lot of fun.
Yeah, so I guess I'll explain to you what the sport is. So it's an internationally competitive sport. It's played by two teams of two players. And how I describe it is that it's like a fast-paced and more accessible version of volleyball. So in Spikeball, our net is placed slightly raised on the ground. So you can think of it like an aerobics trampoline, okay? So Team A, say, will start by hitting the ball, which is slightly bigger than a sliotar, onto the net. So just like in volleyball, when the ball goes over the net, in Spikeball, we hit the ball off of the net, and then there's a change of possession. So it's then Team B's turn to return the spike ball back onto the net, which they hope that Team A won't be able to return it. So the best part of the sport is that every single point is a battle, and you've probably seen that yourself, Shane.
Yeah, I think it was Joe Rogan's podcast or something. He was showing it. Really? There was somewhere quite big was showing just the kind of athleticism that would go into this kind of game.
Yeah, we see loads of rallies, long athletic rallies that players are diving and striking and smashing and saving balls that you'd never expect them to get. But words really never do it justice. If any listener wants to go look it up, they can just look up Spikeball best plays on Google or on YouTube, and they get some of these crazy plays. And in my 5 years of playing, every time I look at a new play, I'm always surprised by the level of athleticism from the players around the world. So if the listeners want to see more, check it out online, and they'll really, really understand.
And speaking about players around the world, on the 4th of July, over 75 teams or 150 players will compete in Dublin to see who's the best Roundnet team in Ireland. Can you explain, first of all, did you think the event was going to go ahead because of what is happening lockdown-wise all over the world? And secondly, then they progress into the Euros, and that's where the around the world kind of aspect comes into it, around Europe especially. So what kind of went into the planning of this event, and did you feel that it might be cancelled, or what was your thoughts going into it?
Exactly, Shane. Yeah, we held the same event on the 4th of July last year. It's a big celebration of America Day, because this game, sport, came from Chicago in America, so that's really the center where it's around, but it's blown up in Europe recently, and Europe is really leading forward with the development of the sport now. So last year we had the tournament, 4th of July tournament, we probably had 25 teams. So this year we're expecting almost 100 teams, so we're multiplying that by 5, which is crazy growth within a year. We didn't expect it to be on, and I was keeping up with it every day to see if we could get this event to go ahead, because it's always our poster event, and thank God that it has, because it's bringing people out from the woodwork. And this year has been an incredible rate of growth for the sport in Ireland. I think it's mainly down to 3 things that our sport is centered around, that people have kind of found value in, that they have experienced lockdown and all that. So people obviously want to be outdoors and they want to be active. So while we were restricted, everyone was with their families and roommates, and they had a chance to discover new games, sports and activities. And thankfully, hundreds of people discovered Spikeball. So the other part of it, I guess, is people value social life. We all know that now. People are discovering old and new social communities. And our sport is completely based around the sense of community, from local pickup games to, as you mentioned, international tournaments where everybody knows and respects each other and their backgrounds and everything. So I guess the other thing is that people are turning to Spikeball because they want to be part of something new and really exciting. People join our community are kind of inspired by the success of Spikeball worldwide and feel such an amazing excitement as we blow targets and milestones out of the water, just like this event that's coming up. It's going to be this event's going to be a really important part of the history of Roundnet and Spikeball in Ireland, and I'm really, really looking forward to it.
How did you get involved in something like this? Because, it's not taught in schools or anything like that. You mentioned there's a bit of a volleyball connection. Benny O'Regan, who runs Kilkenny Spartans down here in Kilkenny, he's starting up a new kind of sport in Kilkenny called Tekis. He's trying out different things. How did you get involved in Spikeball? Is there a natural progression there from volleyball?
There absolutely is. And it's funny you mentioned Benny because he's a great player and a good friend of mine. I've come down to Kilkenny. I have family in Kilkenny, and I go down 4 or 5 times a year to visit my granny. And I met up with Benny there just pre-corona to play with his Spartans volleyball team, and it was really great to see him in action and spreading the word. So I like to think of him as an ambassador for Spikeball also, and I'd love to have him under our wing because he's such a fantastic representative for any sport with his passion. But yeah, it all started 4 years ago. I was living in Colorado and I spotted the sport out there. I bought a set and I brought it home with me, and my friends were non-stop asking me to come out and play. I was the only person with a set, it seemed like, in all of Ireland, and more and more people were getting opened up to it. So one day anyway, I got on to Spikeball Inc., the company, who decided to make me the Irish ambassador for Spikeball. And sent me over some free sets which I could go to organise tournaments with. So over the last 4 years, we've developed massively. We've had a league that we held in UCD for 2 years, which developed some of the 20 teams that are still prominent in the game today. And we've travelled to international tournaments. We travelled to Germany and Belgium last year to take part in the Grand Slam and the Euros, where we priced pretty high up, but the European players have really set the standard quite high. But the massive developments were in the last year when I started travelling all across Ireland to primary schools and secondary schools to introduce it to PE classes, and the uptake has been insane. We're in over 50 schools now across Ireland, every county is included, and we're getting the new breed of Spikeball player getting going early on. So yeah, it's come a long way, and in the last 2 or 3 months, the development has been outstanding. And the event that we're holding next Saturday is going to be the absolute pinnacle of all of this development.
I suppose that's integral as well. You mentioned that you're going to schools, you're going to colleges and stuff. It's integral to get the pickup from a young age so it sustains the future of the sport. I'd imagine that was a business decision to try and kind of help the sport go forward into the future.
Yeah, exactly. When I left college, we ended the University Spikeball League in UCD, which was unfortunate. I just couldn't be there to run at the time. So I decided that I'd focus my efforts on the younger ages. But fortunately, this year we're going to be setting up leagues in both UCD, Trinity, DIT, IADT, UCC and Maynooth. So if anyone's listening out there and you're in any of those colleges, or you want to start your own Spikeball league in your college, get on to us now, because we would love to have you as part of our league or even running our league.
Yeah, we have Carlow IT down here, a massive institution that would be prime for something like this. You mentioned that you're over in the States. It's a very competitive market over in the States for sports. Obviously, you have the NFL, you have baseball, basketball, hockey. MLS is coming on quite a bit, but it is a very competitive market to start a new sport. I suppose its advantage is that there's so many people over there. When did it start in the US? I know you came on about 4 years ago, but how old is this sport?
It started back in around 2013 as a game. So it was simply being sold in toy stores. And then eventually players and people who were inspired by it started picking it up and developing new rules for it. And it made its way back to the company. basically it all came around by the players developing the sport. It's soon, probably around 2014, maybe a year later, they started developing the Spikeball League and the Spikeball Roundnet Association. So they've been organising tournaments for the last 7-8 years, and they have some incredible players who are sponsored. They're on ESPN. It's become massive in America, and it all started as a toy and a backyard game, and something they bring to other sports. But now it's become its own thing, just because how great and athletic and all of the attributes of this sport has made it what it is today.
Well, what's been the media pickup on it? Has there been, over in the States, you have huge, massive media conglomerates that pick up on all different types of sports. What's been the media reception to the sport?
Yeah, it's been really, really good. I think what we're experiencing now in Ireland is something similar to what America would have experienced a while ago. I don't know if it's the case in Kilkenny and Carlow, but in Dublin anyway, you can't go to a single park without seeing a spikeball set somewhere with 4 or 10 people playing it. So in America anyway, they were everywhere, and it was hard to not see them. So kind of media outlets like one called Dude Perfect, which is a big media outlet on YouTube in America, has picked it up recently, and that was a massive increase for it. But you know what? It all started when Spikeball and Chris Rudder, its CEO, went on to their version of Dragon's Den, which is called Shark Tank.
Yep.
He went on and he got an offer from Damon, who is a clothes brand owner, and he ended up wanting to develop it more into a business. He actually decided that he would he'd invest his money if Chris was to agree to make a Spider-Man Spikeball set. They'd mix Marvel comics with Spikeball, and Chris said no. His vision for the company was to become the next great American sport at the time, which has now developed into the next great global sport. So we all in the community thank Chris for making that decision, not thinking about the money. And I think we all resemble him as well in our decisions. You mentioned earlier that it was a business decision to start going to schools. This is all fueled by passion. There's no lot of money in it. It's to get people playing the sport, to develop the next great Irish team, to represent Worlds and Euros, and to get people out and playing, having fun. This summer has been the perfect example of it, when people just need something like this, and the happiness and the smiles you see on people's faces when they come out with us is worth any amount of money that I could ever imagine.
We know minority sports kind of have trouble getting some types of grants and facilities to be able to play their sport. However, with Spikeball, it doesn't seem like it's going to cost that much to be able to uptake it. You need your kit. You don't really need mad facilities. You just need like a playground or a field or something like that. So it seems like it's a relatively cheap sport to be able to take up. Would you think that that's a big bonus in attracting players?
Absolutely. And the density of games and people that we can fit into one area because of the compactness of the sport and all of that means that you can bring your set anywhere and play anywhere. When we have a tournament, everyone can bring their set. So we're going to have close to 200 people below the coronavirus limit, of course, but up in Deer Park up the road. And we won't be taking up more space than an entire GAA pitch, which would take 30 people at once. We're going to be taking 100 people, and we'll have extra space for people to spectate as well. So it's really valuable in terms of that, and that's a huge value proposition for colleges, for schools, because they might be limited on space in the first place. And some of the schools that I visit to, and they're so happy that they can play it indoors, depending on the weather, or outdoors, and they can fit all of their people, all their class into one area with 5 small sets, which cost them literally nothing compared to what they spend on other sports equipment. It's a massive value proposition for people.
Well, brilliant. The 4th of July is when it's kicking off for yourself. You said over 100 teams now are partaking in it to get to the chance to represent Ireland in the Euros, which will be held in Dublin as well on the 26th and 27th of September. So it's a big plus there. Hopefully we might check in with you some stage next week while the tournament is on, if you're not too busy, and just to see how it's all going.
Of course, I'd love to.
And if someone wants to uptake the sport, Simon, if they're liking what they're hearing, where do they go? Where do they check out?
So you can go to one of two places. You can go to our Instagram or Facebook accounts and message us there, and we can add you to one of our groups where we discuss on a daily basis where we're playing, all that kind of thing. Or if you're not uptaken with them, you can go to our website, roundnetireland.com, and you'll find us there, how to get involved, how to become an ambassador, our events. If you want to buy a set, you can buy it from there as well. And we offer next day delivery too. So if you're in Kilkenny and Carlow and you want to get a set today, we'll have it out to you early this week.
Brilliant, Simon. Well, I wish you nothing but the best. I'll get in contact with you next week, 4th of July. I know you're going to be busy, but I look forward to seeing how well the tournament is progressing. And hopefully we'll have some worthy champions to represent Ireland in the Euros.
Absolutely. Thanks, Shane.
Absolute pleasure, Simon. Have a good one. That's Simon Leonard from Roundnet Ireland, who is speaking about Spikeball, a new event that is going to reignite the summer of sport, is taking place on the 4th of July. We'll try and check in with him. If you have any interest, as you said, just go into Roundnet Ireland and you will be able to take part in the fast growing sport that it is.